Hello, hello. Radio. The mastermind of this operation is Jason Levine. Class first grade, yeah. With the help of his scruffy buddy, 85 to the RGT. Class first grade, yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Emo Class versus Crass. Without Crass. I don't know who this guy is, but he got into our Google Hangout. I'm your host, Hey Jay. Welcome to the Class vs. Crass Gaming Podcast. It's a 1-hour podcast. I don't know where my co-host went. Sean just decided to take a nap or something. So he's out. But joining us tonight, no, for real though, Sean's having computer problems. He's going to join us soon. Joining us tonight, though, we have a very special guest that I don't know how I have not gotten on the show sooner. We have Anthony, but you guys might know him as the Kimerson Show, also the artist behind a ton of Fire Emblem comics, but more importantly, the Class vs. Crass comics.
I see how it is.
Welcome, Anthony. You want to be called Kimerson or Anthony?
I prefer, actually, I don't think, maybe I haven't told you this, but I prefer if you go by either Kim or Kimerson, honestly.
Oh, yeah, we've never had that formality.
It's fine, but now we've established that.
Kim
yes.
it is.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's just like, this is, no offense, but like, I always thought that Anthony was kind of like a loser name.
Oh.
Because from me growing up, I never met like a cool Anthony, you know? They would always just like...
They need to make a comic book about a hero named Anthony.
It won't sell well. You know why? Because his name's Anthony. Jason.
Oh shit. What's a good adjective that goes with Anthony?
A good adjective.
The amazing Anthony. There you go.
Amazing.
I think that's taken though. You know why? How did Spider-Man get that?
Amazing Spider-Man.
It doesn't even rhyme. You know.
I mean, it kind of plays on the tongue, so it's not totally random, but we'll figure something out, I guess.
Anthony. Anthony the asshole. Make it like a dark, like an anti-hero comic. Whoa. Then Anthony will get the respect he deserves as a name.
Finally, the name will finally get the recognition.
But really, I thought I heard rumors Sean had a mullet, and I wanted to one-up him tonight with the emo angst look, because when I was a teenager, I didn't get to have long hair because I was too scared to have long hair. So... And also in the 90s, like it was cool to have the really like short hair with the little part that goes up here. They called it a Caesar.
Yeah.
Not like the drink, although you probably don't know what a Caesar is because that's Canadian.
Well, also, even a step back, like if you talk fashion, count me out, honestly. Anything like related to society. That's not why I'm here, Jason. I'm here for Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem only, okay?
Are you going into withdrawal right now? Because I know that you've been away from the game for about 5 minutes at least since we've gone live.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed. It's very considerate of you. I'm just like, I'm replaying all the battles in my head, and I can't stop, Jason. Like, honestly, like even though I joke, it actually is almost like an addiction at this point. Of like, I would be about to go to bed. Well, let me recollect myself. I would be heading to bed, and then as I close my eyes, like, you know, just one more battle, just one more battle. What could possibly hurt? And then I'm playing, and then I look at my clock. It's all of a sudden it's like 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, oh, it wasn't just one more battle.
Oh shit! All right, so let's get some context. And by the way, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, if it is your first time, I'm sorry. This is the weirdest start we've ever had to a podcast. And we got the co-host in the background. He's putting on his pants. I don't know what he's doing. How do we usually start this? It's a 1-hour podcast, and we usually go over what we've been playing, go over some headlines, and then we keep the last 15 minutes for the lightning round. It's going to be a little bit improvised tonight, but we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Fire Emblem, as the headline suggests. That's why Mr. Kim's here. That's why Anthony the asshole's now.
I can't believe I've been invited to a podcast just to be called out like this. This is embarrassing.
That's the master plan. But for those of you who don't know you, okay, why am I calling you the Fire Emblem superfan? Can you give us like a little bit overview? What got you into the series? Do you actually like Fire Emblem? What's the story?
No, actually, that's the biggest twist in this whole thing. I actually hate the series. No, oh my, someone's gonna clip that and be like, proof that the Kimerson show's a fraud. No, but I mean, honestly, if you ask like asking me about like when I got in the series, is like asking me for like my life story. It feels like, because actually, fun fact, the first game I didn't play wasn't actually Fire Emblem. It was actually Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland for the Game Boy Advance SPs. That was my first console. I had that, and then my friend was the one who had Fire Emblem, and he's like, "Man, this game sucks. I'm gonna trade it with that Kirby game you have." I'm like, "Oh, I mean, okay." So
I really like this Kirby game, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully I beat it at that point, so I gave it to
What
him,
was that
and
guy's name? We need to give him a badass name, evil
not
nickname.
bad. Please don't give him a badass name. He was he was an idiot.
So you guys aren't friends anymore, right?
No, we're not friends.
Well, okay, we can give him a name. At least let's have the chat take a shot at giving this game a nice nickname. You can
Okay,
give him
his
a
name
fake
was-
name.
His name, well, his actual name was Steven.
Steven! Oh, that's terrible. Like any kids show, the evil like stepfather is named Steven, or the CEO is like Steven is a villain's name.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Anyways, sorry. So he stole your Fire Emblem game. No, your Kirby game.
Well, we it was a fair exchange. It was a fair trade. At that point, so I played. So then, but like, even though I kind of like peg him as like a villain, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that we did the trade because obviously, something about like specifically it was Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones for the Game Boy Advance, where I think that game came out in like 2003, 2004 off the top of my head. So it's been a long time.
That was one of the first ones to come to North America, wasn't it?
The very first one was called just Fire Emblem. That came out. Oh wait, that came out in 2003 for Game Boy Advance. And yeah, so it's weird because it's the 7th game in the franchise, but the first one to come to Western Shores.
Right.
So and then so most people in the American Western fandom, when they play Fire Emblem for the first time, it was with that game. But for me, I joined like a year later with the sequel. Well, actually, it's just next game because saying it's not a sequel since it's not the same characters or the same world.
It's like Final Fantasy. It's all like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all self-contained stories for the most part. Yeah.
Aren't they? Isn't there like a lot of incest though?
I'm leaving the show. This
No, sorry. I meant, aren't there like, the grandparents and stuff? I saw you make incest jokes in your own comments.
I mean, again, being called out like this is not appreciated.
Okay, I'll tone it down.
Okay. No. Okay. Jokes aside, though, admittedly, it's kind of hard to kind of bring up Fire Emblem in a normal conversation, shall we say, because there's so many weird like story beats and decisions that intelligent systems, the developers, they make, where it's just like, I want to talk about this series, but it feels like I have to hide some details in like the closet until like the person's more comfortable with the series, not to suggest that it's like a morally wrong series to get into. I don't want to give that impression, but like people make a lot of shall we very just straight I'll just say it, like incest jokes, yeah, because Fire Emblem games, some of them have this weird thing where the developers were like, hey, it would be cool if those two characters got together. It's like, they're blood related, so no, please don't. Oh no.
But when you say blood related, is it like cousins, or are we talking brother sister?
I think the worst it got with, I think the worst it gets is with cousin, technically,
because that's fairly common in anime and manga, isn't it? Yeah,
it is, which is a very it's a very unfortunate trope for the entertainment media to have in the first place, but it is what it is. I mean, and then they kind of pushed the envelope with one of the more recent games, Fire Emblem Fates, where, do you remember the advertising for that game at least? It was like 2 nations. You had to choose which one to side with.
A little bit. I have that game.
Right. That game, basically, you're playing the main character who has like blood relatives in Hoshido, the Japan-inspired nation, and then you have the Norian, European-based nation where you grew up in. So it's like, which family do you choose? That was the whole tagline of that game. And then, but then to everyone's dismay and shock, it turned out your main character could actually like romance your siblings. Yes. And then at the end, but because at the end of that like support conversation, they had like a little, hey, it's okay for us to get married because we're not actually blood related. It's like a letter from your mom or something. It's just like, yo, it's a-okay. It's like, oh my god, intelligent systems, please stop.
Yeah.
I'm happy to report that Three Houses, the latest entry and the reason why I'm on this show in the first place, has been fairly, like, a lot of like the tropes and like the tiresome like story beats that intelligent systems used to go for their characters and story are thankfully absent from Three Houses. Honestly, just in general, Three Houses is like, I feel it could be the most widely universally like accepted game with its story and characters, just because there isn't like a lot of, well, let's just say there isn't I can't really make incest jokes because there really isn't any of that.
Oh, that's great.
You know,
I mean, it's a fair point. I'm glad that we can have a game.
that's my seal of approval for Three Houses. Does not have incest. Boom.
The
Just
bar
put
is
it right
pretty
there.
low, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, like, yeah, it kind of is, admittedly, but it is again, like, it's just how it is. I don't really question it too much.
But so going back, oh, look who shows up,
Oh, hello.
Hello.
sir. Got
What's
your
up?
found your pants. You all right? You seem a little grumpy over there.
No, I'm just annoyed with this thing.
Oh,
Your computer giving you troubles?
Yeah.
why does it seem like when one of us has good tech, the other doesn't? You know,
I
you used,
don't know.
you used to have the potato router. Then you like upgraded. Then my shit started crashing. Now I upgrade, and now you're crashing.
I think I'm okay now.
Well, Sean / RGT, let me introduce you to the guy who's been drawing you for many years,
Right?
Mr. Kim here.
How's it going, dude?
Hello. Jason, that's such a weird way to introduce it. Yes, the person who's been drawing you for several years now. Like, please.
Yeah. I mean, you've watched this show before. You know I make things awkward. So
It's your specialty.
it's
How
my
could I
special
forget?
move. Make everyone in the room feel awkward.
Great.
It didn't go so well in high school. I didn't really have a lot of friends because of it.
Mm.
Anyways, so we were talking about how Kim got really into Fire Emblem, and turns out some jerk named Steven took his Kirby game and gave him Fire Emblem. I'm spinning this into a story or a hero origin story for you, Kim, because
Please don't.
there's
I don't need
potential
the-
here.
I don't
I am
need the
making
assistance.
a whole universe around a fictional version of you,
Oh boy. Well,
based on a true story, but not actual facts.
well. Listen, Jason. If I ever need the assist, I'll let you know first. All right.
Will do. I'll make sure I get the rights to your story first.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, moving past that, I guess.
Yeah. So you really got into the whole, the formula, right? Because the formula hasn't really changed over the years.
Yes and no. Well, when you say over the years, are you saying from like very beginning or most recently? Because like, yeah,
Well, from
the
your
answer kind
entry
of
point.
changes. Sorry.
From your
the
entry point into the series.
Okay, so from the entry point, Fire Emblem has been pretty formulaic with like just the structure of like between like the gameplay and the character supports, which are two of the most important things. And then over time with GameCube Wii, they kind of innovated by like increasing the scale of the conflicts and the stories, and then they kind of looking back, I think every single game in some way has like innovated on like the formula to the point where like I can't really say like, oh, if you play one Fire Emblem game, then you don't have to play another one. Where it's just like they're all fairly unique in their in the way that they present themselves. You know.
Really? So I didn't know that. So please talk to me like someone who I've only played Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Echoes, and to me like that gameplay felt somewhat similar.
I'm actually surprised you would say that because a lot of people consider Echoes to be the black. Well, okay, it's a departure from what they're used to with the 3DS games because if you recall, Echoes had no weapon triangle. First of all, they don't really make a big deal out of it, but it's pretty much absent because it's a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden all the way back in like the 90s. When that came out.
Right.
So they brought over those old mechanics and like basically put like a fresh coat of paint over them. And then also I think people note that like the maps themselves, the map design, like where the battles take place are very different. They're way more open. They're way more open. They're way more the philosophy of designing them are a lot different than they were in Fates, where they're a lot more compact and like I don't want to say interesting because even though Echo's maps were open, because they're so open, they're often boring because there was like a group of enemies like spread out so far that it seemed more like tedious work to get rid of all of them, if that makes sense.
In Echoes, right?
In Echoes, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what people usually critique of, like, oh, Echoes is not a great game because that happened. But what's it? Also, Echoes was the first game in the series to have fully voiced characters. Because with Fates, if you recall, like when there are like text boxes that would appear, it'll be like I see,
Yeah, it was one word, one word.
One word, yeah. But with Echoes, they were able to hire voice actors to fully flesh out those characters. Which thankfully is something they brought over to Three Houses as well, because every single like important character is fully voiced in that game, which is great. And what? Oh, sorry, you were going to say something?
I was going to ask what in your opinion. So the Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'm seeing it. I haven't had the chance to play it yet. I don't know, Sean, if you've had the chance. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can you nod and just say you have played it? You have played it. Okay, so
Thumbs up.
We're gonna get Sean's thoughts on that soon. So from my perspective as essentially an outsider, I'm seeing that it's getting great scores. It seems to be more widely accepted. I don't know if it's because it's like a console version. So I kind of wanted to hear what your thought why is this game getting more attention, it seems, than the rest?
I mean, I think honestly, primarily because it is like the return of Fire Emblem on home consoles. One of the talking points that, if you recall, back in early 2017 when they announced the Switch, they announced that there would be a Fire Emblem game in 2018, which didn't turn out to be true. Like it got pushed back to 2019.
Well,
but
they got Heroes. No, not Heroes.
Heroes is a mobile spin-off game.
The other one, Warriors.
Warriors, yeah, but that's again a spin-off game. It's not a main Fire Emblem title,
right?
Yeah. As amazing as Warriors is, which is a very controversial opinion in the Fire Emblem fandom, to be honest. I feel like the fandom hates that game because it's like, it's not my Fire Emblem. It's like it's not supposed to be, but okay, whatever. But yeah, just like the fact that like Fire Emblem is on the Switch, that in itself is like a good reason as to why it's doing so well. Just because the Fire Emblem formula also excels on a portable portable setting. I feel like, because the maps are so big, sometimes like you don't have the time to sit down for like 2 hours on your TV to like play through a chapter. It's a lot easier to like pick up your Switch, play a little bit of the chapter, and then like pause it for like if you gotta go to work or something. So I feel like that really boosts it, but also that's not to take away from the main game itself, which has been I honestly think, again, another good reason as to why it's doing so well is because like the characters in the story are really strong this time around.
Being the three that are behind you there.
Sorry?
Or when you say the characters, we're talking about the three
illustrated all of those characters, honestly. Each house has 8 characters, so altogether, all 24 characters, I think.
Oh shit, I didn't realize it was that many.
I feel like this is probably the one time in this, like the one game I've played in this series where I was like, I love all of these characters, because playing Fire Emblem, there's so many characters. It's like you have your, I like these characters, but the rest of them are garbage, or like varying degrees of like opinions. But like for Three Houses, like I simply adore like all their stories, all their conflicts and struggles. And again, that leads back to what I was talking about with voice acting. The voice acting is such a big deal as to why they feel so fleshed out and alive this time.
And all of them, all 28 of them,
all 24 characters have support conversations with each other, and with like multiple conversations, and they're all fully voice acted amazingly. Where I think my favorite instance is the fact that like sometimes the characters get sassy, where like if they they would have conversations where they would like mock the person they're talking about, and instead of just simply saying it, they would actually like do a voice. So for example, there's these 2 professors where one of them was talking about how the other one was like disgusting because she picked up a sandwich and started eating it again, and then when he was talking about her, he said like, oh, but then he told me 3-second rule, right? Like that kind of like sassy just like mocking voice brings so much character to that teacher than just, if that was like in text formula, I'd be like, oh, he's just simply complaining about her. But because it was voice, you get like not only is he complaining, but he's also like sassing her a little bit,
Right, so you're getting a richer experience essentially.
Yeah, honestly, like if these supports weren't voice, I don't think I would have like be half as invested into them as I am now, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
because it does feel like I'm watching like an episode of like, let's say, Game of Thrones, with some of these like interactions,
minus the incest and the not safe for work stuff, as people were saying in the chat.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Sean, are you back with us? How's your headset over there?
The new one is on the floor because I threw it across the room because it's a piece of shit and it's not working.
Oh shit! Why'd you buy a new one? What was wrong with your current one?
I just wanted a new one because this one's like missing an ear thing and sometimes it cuts out. It seems like that's what at least people tell me. So I bought a new one and it fucking sucks.
What brand is it?
I don't know. Some Chinese brand, Masagano or
What?
Onekuma.
Oh my god! Why wouldn't you get something? There's so many good headsets for gamers. There's so many like brands that are like investing into esports and stuff. Why wouldn't you pick one of those up?
Because I'm cheap.
God damn it! I knew you were gonna say that.
Sean, use your YouTube money. What the heck, dude?
You gotta save that, man. You never know when it's gonna go away.
The YouTube money, it's imaginary.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess I better delete my YouTube channel then. If it's not,
You have a
if that's the
YouTube
case.
channel?
I have a YouTube channel. Yeah, it has like 75 subscribers, but I'm proud of it.
Well,
I'm
let's
proud of
get
all
you over
75
100 tonight. What's your YouTube channel?
Oh, well, it's just called the Kimerson Show. You know, it's the same as my Twitter handle. I just made it because I was making some like animated webcomic stuff. They're all like parodies. Like I took like audio from like TV shows and like memes and I kind of like slapped them on Fire Emblem content.
Oh, I see.
If that makes sense.
I see.
Like my biggest video on there has like 4,000 views, and that's about it.
4,000.
Yeah.
Damn. I think your channel's doing better than mine.
I knew you were gonna say that.
So Sean, have you been playing Fire Emblem?
I'm like 10 plus hours into it.
What do you think so far?
I really like it. I'm not still sure that I'm sold on the whole. There's a lot of micromanaging with the school stuff, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like I don't hate it, but I feel like it's kind of overwhelming at times. So I just tend to automate stuff and just let whatever happen.
So what do you mean you have to micromanage the school? Like you actually have to like manage relationships, or you have to actually manage like the operations of the school?
You teach. You're a teacher. It's like Harry Potter. The Fire Emblem meets Harry Potter.
But from the teacher's perspective, not from the student's perspective.
Yeah, you're a teacher in the game.
Okay.
I mean, I can explain the gameplay mechanics if that's what you're asking, Jason.
Please do.
Okay, so what Sean's referring to is the fact that since you are a teacher at the academy this time around for this game, there's a lot where you have to you have like an open space you can explore the monastery itself. Like you can like go around, explore, talk to students, find lost items, do quests while you're like there, and this is all like kind of done from a third person angle of just like running around controlling your character. And then, but in addition to that, there's also the teaching mechanic of you have to build up your students this time around into like what proficiencies of weapons you want them to excel at. So in past Fire Emblem games, when you got a unit, you knew what they were good at. It's like, oh, this dude, he's a sword dude, so he's really good at swords. This time around, all the students are like blank canvases. There's like the possibilities are limitless for what they could do, right? So at times it feels overwhelming of like, oh, like I want to train him a sword, but he has like a hidden thing in like lances, and so it kind of affects a lot of players' judgments in terms of how they spend their time. And then the time management is also reminiscent of the Persona games, particularly Persona 5, if you've played that.
I have not.
Oh, okay.
It's another one on my to-do list.
That comparison is moot then, I guess. But no, there is a lot of micromanagement with like handling your students and also like supports and like relationship, whatever. But like Sean mentioned, if you really don't care for any of that stuff, which a lot of Fire Emblem players are like that, they're like, I just want to get to the battle stuff. Yeah. You can just automate it. You can just the option. It gives you the option to just skip all that stuff entirely if you don't feel like it.
Okay. Do you like it more, Sean, as than like other stuff, or is the micromanagement just too much of a turnoff?
I don't, like I said, I haven't really played enough of it to form a really solid opinion. I think the actual like combat is fantastic, and you know it looks pretty solid. You know, the character animations are good, the voice acting is good. Some of the stuff you do in the monastery is pretty fun, like the little side stuff and just kind of exploring it. So yeah, I mean, I definitely like it.
Like it, love it, hate it, meh.
We're doing that, okay.
Well, I think we already know where everyone stands on that. Unrelated topic, Sean. I had a question for you, and I was hoping to get it at the beginning, but you were up. Did you get a mullet?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Can you turn your head?
Well, I mean, it's not like a super mullet, but you could see that the sides, you know, what's going on here? Oh, it looks like you shaved.
Oh,
then you look at the back.
That's a T. That's a T. That's like an Italian mullet.
Well, it's still a mullet by definition, then.
Mullets are supposed to be like long. Yours is very curly. I've never seen a curly mullet.
Well, now you have.
It's charming. Anything else you've been playing? What have you been playing?
Friday the 13th on Switch, but I can't talk about it because of embargo until the 6th, but I'm probably not going to talk about it on the 6th because there's no one playing it online. And it's an online game.
I thought that game had already come out.
Not on the Switch.
Oh.
I've been playing the Doom games. I downloaded all 3 of them. I'm still messing around with them. What else have I been playing? I know there's something else, but I can't think of it right now.
I'm trying to think what the big releases were. You had Fire Emblem was the big one.
Wolfenstein Youngblood also came out.
Oh,
I didn't know that was taboo here. I'm sorry.
Wait, you didn't? What'd you play it on?
Switch.
What didn't you like about it?
Everything.
So this was my first Wolfenstein that I dabbled in on PC.
Ew, are you serious?
Yeah, and I'm with you. I was like, I don't think this was the right entry point for me into this franchise.
No, not at all.
You're
You're better off playing the original Wolfenstein than playing that. It's not a Wolfenstein game. It's a Wolfenstein game in name. It's a Wolfenstein game in that they used Blazkowicz's daughters. Everything else is not Wolfenstein.
Do you have on the Switch? Do you have to play online?
You don't have to. You can play
forced
offline.
co-op though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's forced co-op no matter what.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I download this game on my PC and I go to play it, and it's like join game or host game. I'm like, what the hell? Can't I just play campaign? And of course I join, and there's a dude like I don't know who's clearly doing stuff, or either they know what they're doing or they don't know what they're doing. And I'm just like, oh, this is not my. I hate forced co-op like that. One is the bulk of the game, so.
Yeah, it's not a very good game. At all, really.
What's a better entry point to that series?
Anything, any other Wolfenstein.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you played that, Kim, as well.
I didn't play per se, but I've been paying attention to it just because it came out the same day as Fire Emblem, and I knew that like obviously I went deep into the Fire Emblem hellhole so I can't get out of it. But I have been watching like reviews and like just general thoughts about it, and plenty of people have shared their grievances of how that game is kind of like garbage, so that's the only reason why I'm remotely aware of it,
I just got it for free with my graphics card, but I think I got a shitty deal. I don't know. I think they can bundle something better next time.
I agree.
Actually, I was gone camping, so I actually don't even know what the new indie games were from last week. And
sad.
Otherwise, I've been cramming away at my Lego games.
Really?
That I'm almost done. Yeah, I'm playing the Lego Marvel Lego event. No, Superheroes. It's an old game from like 4 years ago. Which, by the way, I think you downloaded that on the last show, right, Sean?
No, I bought it. It's over there on the floor. I haven't played it yet.
This man, where's your headset? It's on the floor over there. Where's that new game? You on the floor over there. Where's your guitar? On the floor over there.
I mean, it is.
Oh.
You seem so depressed tonight.
I'm not. I'm fine.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't want to poke the bear. He's looking. You got the serious face on.
I'm just annoyed with that headset.
I hear you. Any good things happening to you this week, though?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Not really.
No, that's sad.
And that's where that conversation ended.
Sometimes he gives me a line. Sometimes he's just like, nope, let's just kill that where it is. But actually, I did want to ask you something else, Kim, regarding so the Fire Emblem community is another thing that is kind of like you've referred to it a few times on the show today. And to me, it's something like you're my eyes into the community. You're the pretty much only person that I know who identifies as part of the community.
Okay.
And I've seen plenty of other people, like other communities. You know, you got the Pokemon community, of course, Zelda, everything like that. What's it like? Like, what is for anyone who might be interested in finding the community or being part of it? Like, can you give us a salesman guide to it?
I could not salesman guide. I could give you like a war veterans guide into the FE fandom
Is it that
because
bad?
it's like not. I don't want to say bad because I don't want them to lynch me afterwards.
Oh,
but it's
shit.
just like, it does at times. It feels like a minefield, you know, where it, like I don't know, like sometimes like everything will be like smooth sailing. All of a sudden, like we hit an explosion mine. It's like, what happened? Like, what are we upset about today?
Oh, so
You
there's
know?
like taboo topics or something? Like,
Not taboo per se, but I mean, just with let's say like, well, let's make it relevant with Three Houses, right? So far there's been like universal praise for it. Just saying like, oh, I love this game, blah blah. But so you know how Three Houses, the kind of like the main like not gimmick, but like the main gameplay element is that you choose one of the three houses. You know, you choose a character to lead into battle, whatever. And there's a lot of discourse happening right now regarding the leader of the Black Eagles, Edelgard. She's the one. She's the leader of the Red House,
Right.
Jason. And so a lot of people have a problem with her in particular because they think like I just log online mostly on Twitter, and I see people calling her like a fascist, like an evil tyrant, like a irredeemable character. But it's really awkward for me because I just beat the Black Eagles route where I sympathize with a lot of what she was doing, you know.
so
but
she's like the Daenerys of Game of Thrones.
yeah, it's a pretty fair comparison, honestly. Again, because it kind of goes with that mentality of like the ends justify the means kind of character,
Oh,
you know.
okay, yeah.
So a lot of people have a problem with her, and that would be fine if they left it at that. But some people have gone so far as to like attack others because they like her, you know. It's like, can we not just like the fictional characters and not like associate like, oh, you like her therefore you're a villain kind of mentality. It's just
Oh,
it's a
so
whole-
people make it personal. Like, oh, you like that person?
some people make it personal, yeah. Like I mean, before the show today, I kind of made like a tweet saying like how it's like what was it like? So it was kind of like a skit kind of tweet where it's like I say like, oh, like Edelgard's such a great character, yeah, and then before I can even finish, like someone like interjects me of just like, no, she's evil, and if you like her, you're evil. And so beneath that tweet, there's like a whole like right now there's like a whole like dialogue of like people like debating whether she's morally correct in some of her story beat decisions. And part of the reason why the conversation is still going on is because your assessment of her varies depending on which route you take, you know.
Right.
So with Black Eagles, you know why she's doing the things she's doing, but with Golden Deer and Blue Lions, the other two houses, as far as you know, she's pretty much like the worst thing that ever exists because she's doing like these horrific acts of war. And it's like, how could anyone sympathize with a monster like that, you know? Whereas I'm here like, I can sympathize with a monster.
This guy stirring the pot on Twitter, he wouldn't be called Steven by any chance, would he?
Probably one of those guys named Steven. That's a
God
fair bet,
damn it,
honestly.
Steven. Any Stevens here in the chat tonight? Which house did you go with, Sean?
Me? Oh, sorry.
I went with the Golden Deer.
Oh. What's the golden?
Any particular reason, Sean?
I liked, not really.
Okay, you just kind of just like flip the coin at that point.
pretty much. I was just like, well, I'll just pick one. And I didn't really see many people talk about Golden Deer, so I was like, I'll go with them.
There kind of is that mentality of like, oh, I'm gonna go against the flow and pick like the least popular of the three.
That's why I went Team Instinct in Pokemon Go, and I regret it to this day.
I think Sean made the comparison of like this is like Harry Potter Fire Emblem essentially, where and you were mostly talking about the school aspect. I get that, but I feel like also the factions themselves lend itself to Harry Potter in that there's almost sort of like a personality quiz happening when you pick your house with a lot of these players because I mean, for example, on the day of release I actually went to the Nintendo store in Manhattan because they had like a Fire Emblem event there. And they split us into like it was like trivia night, so they split us into teams, and in order to decide what team you were joining, you actually had like a personality quiz test they gave out just straight up. And it was kind of apparent that like each house kind of has its own like trace. Like Empire is very like get the job kind of mentality. The Kingdom is very like Honor before like whatever, and then Golden Deer is just like the chill bros.
Of course, Sean would pick that one.
You know.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, so it kind of it's very reminiscent of like those I'm a Gryffindor, I'm a Ravenclaw kind of conversations people used to have back in they still have rather today.
I never experienced that because I'm old.
Well, so you don't have friends, so there's that as well.
Yeah,
Jason.
yeah. The awkward thing didn't help me. Even the Harry Potter community shunned me at that point. I still haven't seen the movies, and even my kids now. I told my kid, and he's like, "You haven't seen Harry Potter, Dad?" He's like, Do you want me to watch it with you? I'm like, yes, please, please. You have to, be my friend.
Oh my God.
Feed you and give you a house. All right, let's get into our headlines. You guys good for headlines, or you want to do more Fire Emblem talk?
I mean, there's not. I think I pretty much covered all the bases, and knowing me, I'm pretty sure I'll somehow bring it to conversation later. So I think we're all good.
Actually, how far are you into it? Did you finish a house yet?
I'm 72 hours into the game so far. I've sacrificed a lot of sleep to get to that point.
I can imagine. It's been a week.
But I finished the Black Eagles. And so currently right now I'm on my Blue Lions playthrough. Thankfully the game has New Game Plus, where after you beat a route, it's like, hey, you can jump back in and bring over some of the stuff you earned from your first playthrough. Essentially,
that's cool.
There is the option to turn it off, but me, like, I want to be more efficient, so I'm starting New Game Plus, and it's really nice because when you start the new game, you actually have like something what's called renown, which is like points you earn throughout your campaign of like completing when you complete quests. And so you can spend these renown points to like unlock all of your late game stuff early. So for instance, in the academy, when you first start out, you're at professor level E, what it's called, or D or whatever. And then you can only do like 2 things in that. You could do only 2 activities that day. But as you raise your professor level, then you could do more activities essentially, which optimizes your time better. So for my new game file, I immediately like use all my renown points to jump immediately to A. So I have like 8 activity points when I really shouldn't have at that point, if that makes sense.
Kind of. I'm kind of following.
Well, just know that like I'm having think of it as like an EXP boost.
Right. Okay, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I'm going to Blue Lions, and even though I'm only like 1/3 into that campaign, I can already tell why people don't like Edelgard, because it's like, oh, she comes across as very like almost like kind of like a evil character in that campaign.
Oh, okay. So they're very, very different, right? Like there's not too much overlap.
The 3 routes are very different this time around.
Yeah. Crimson in the chat saying at this point Dragon Ball Z. Oh, a bridge is canon for me. For a minute I read that as Dragon Ball Super. I mean, Dragon Ball Z a bridge pretty much is canon at this point. They've done such a good job. But actually, I was just realizing most of the news this week, at least the one I covered, is mostly new games. So there's not too much news. There is the EA thing, though. Have you guys heard that? EA saying Switch users don't want to play. They don't want to buy EA games on the Switch because they can already buy those games on other consoles. That's the statement.
Yeah.
Love it like you hate it, man.
Oh, you actually have to give like a emotional reaction to the news?
Or thoughts. I mean, only if you have thoughts. Sometimes you have thoughts, sometimes you don't. Sometimes I get Sean just goes, nope. And then we move on to the next headline. Like, what do you think about that? Nope. Okay, moving on. Did you make a video on it? You did make a video on it where you actually shared your thoughts.
I did.
Yeah. What were they? Watch the video.
I mean, give us the YouTube link.
They've only done 4 games. 2 were FIFA, 2 were indie.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's a stupid statement. You can't say that unless you try.
So you're saying they didn't even try?
No, not really. Especially comparative to past generations.
Yeah. To be fair, like on the one hand, I agree with you. On the other hand, like I can probably we saw numbers from Ubisoft, for example, where the Switch is actually, and Ubisoft has always been pretty proactive in supporting Nintendo platforms. And in the latest quarterly financials, the Switch was the smallest platform for game revenue for Ubisoft.
But they also released the smallest amount of games for that system.
Yeah, I was going to say, what Ubisoft games are on the Switch? I actually don't remember.
Also a fair point. Yeah, in 2019 they haven't been too supportive. That's a good point.
What has been 2019? Assassin's Creed?
No, it wasn't even Assassin's Creed. You had Division 2, which was not
Oh
on
yeah,
Switch.
that exists.
No, I mean on the Switch.
For
You had
Ubisoft?
Assassin's Creed remastered.
Oh yeah, the third one.
Remastered, and then
That's it.
was there others?
Probably Just Dance. I don't know.
There would have been just
Yeah,
residue sales of Starlink. Was that just that was just this past October.
Yeah, Starlink bombed on everything. Man.
Oh man, I don't even remember Starlink, to be honest.
I remember having fun with it, and then
It was good. I really liked it, but it completely bombed.
which is a shame. They have Rayman. They have Mario Rabbids, Rayman Legends.
Oh yeah.
But these are all games that, they're all... Well, Mario Rabbids would have had its moment in the sun 2 years ago. Rayman shined 4 or 5 years ago. So they don't have anything too hot and sexy right. And then there was Steep, which I think just got
Never came out.
killed. Yeah. Because...
So once again, if you don't put games on a system, how can you expect games to sell? And I'm not even necessarily saying that EA or Ubisoft games would sell great on the Switch, because maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't try, you can't say that it's an inconclusive statement.
It is. At the same time, I feel EA kind of bet on the wrong horse. Like, EA's game lineup is, I feel, really weak right now, and they're not doing too great either. Their big hit of the year was supposed to be Anthem. That flopped. They're still milking Battlefield, which isn't that like over a year old now? Or did that just come out last November?
That was over a year old.
Right. And then they've got all their other games as service, SimCity, I think. But I feel like Skylines made SimCity pretty much irrelevant at this point.
Right.
And then they have the Star Wars game. Oh, and Apex Legends, which is another game that is now struggling.
Well, it was kind of a success in like the first couple of weeks it came out, to be fair. But and now it's just like, what is this Apex you mentioned? It's just Fortnite again.
But not even just Fortnite again. It died fast, and it kind of makes you wonder: is it because the game was so good, or is it because the marketing dollars behind it was so big? Because the
marketing behind it was big, because you got a bunch of streamers playing the game, which then creates a buzz, and then people are talking about the game.
But the fact that these streamers didn't continue is a pretty strong sign that, like, if that game couldn't hook these people even after they were paid to play it, was it really that good?
Probably not. No.
Did you ever play it? I never got your thoughts on it.
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for it. I'm over battle royale games. People need to move the fuck on from them.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the next surge of genre is.
Like, I feel like battle royale is done. Like, it's time to do something else.
Starship Dogfight Battle Royale. I'd be down for that.
No battle royale.
Call it 100-man dogfight in space.
Actually, Jason, you joke, but I think there's actually a battle royale game where you play as literal crabs and you just shoot each other. So I think that's the resurgence of the genre we need.
A crab battle royale?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
I'm not surprised either. I'm not shocked at all by this news. I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. I know there was this one 400-man battle royale that died.
What?
And then, I feel we're at the tail end where all of the franchises who wanted to try it or have come out. Like, you have Bethesda, who was all like, Fallout Battle Royale. And everyone's like, okay, that was last year's hype.
Right.
Any thoughts, Kim, on your end about EA and their funny? Funny.
I mean, I think part of the reason why, even though they didn't explicitly say it, I think a lot of people came to the conclusion that the reason why EA was so like, we can't really work on the Switch is because since the Switch isn't always online, they can't really like use their online practices and so their statement of like, oh, it's not really a good fit because it's a secondary platform was just like, they didn't want to admit it, but the matter of the fact is that, we can't really optimize our scummy business model with the Nintendo console, so we can't even bother at that point.
Yeah. It's going to be, well, you know, it's also worth considering that this statement was made and given to investors, which I don't know if it was an investor question that said like, hey, are you planning on doing more for the Switch or what's coming? I actually don't recall the full excerpt, but they're going to be in hot water if the Switch, you know, keeps selling well and has, I don't know, 100,000 units, which it's well on its way to eventually hitting. And if EA like continues to neglect it, investors will be like, why did you not put any of your games on this platform that is in almost all the households?
Because they could play it on other systems, remember?
Yeah, but you can't play it on the bus, you know. Good luck taking your PS4 or Xbox One.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly.
I mean, people have played like their console games on like roller coasters. All right, don't question the will of
Yeah.
man.
You're talking about that Melee? That Melee meme where they're going down Splash Mountain? And one guy's holding the
good.
TV and the other guy with the GameCube?
Yeah, man. Where
Yeah.
there's a will, there's a way.
Agreed. Speaking of will, there's a way.
Nailed it.
Smooth. There's that one game, that one developer that ported the one that, so Outer Worlds has been announced as coming out to the Switch, but it's not actually being done by Obsidian Games. It's being ported by the same company that did
Virtuos.
okay, but there's a better one.
No, that's the name of the company.
Oh, Virtuos. But the game that they just ported was what? It's in the 30s. Help me out here. Is it LA Noire?
LA Noire?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Same company that ported that game.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's a pretty cool company. That's just like kind of offering the service of porting games. So, you know, if EA never wants to do it themselves, although they have the proprietary engine, so they probably couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, they got that Frostbite engine that they have so much money invested in and all that.
Yeah, that was probably another poor investment to have their own platform. Probably made sense 10 years ago or whenever they started, but now that there's so much software like available,
Right.
they probably regret it. Outer Worlds, any of you guys interested in that game?
I am. I've been interested in it
Why?
because it looks like a proper Fallout game without the BS.
Well, it's made by the creators and writers of Fallout 3.
I know.
Okay. You ever play Fallout games, Kim?
Me, I've dabbled, but I haven't. They really couldn't hook me.
Same.
Also, like I think don't ask just for a disclaimer for like me carrying on with this news of like, oh, later games this year are gonna play it. My answer is no, because I'm too busy playing Three Houses.
So there's like no other games on the horizon this year for you?
For me, no. Personally, yeah, it's just, well, I mean, I know there's a new Pokemon game, but like there's so much controversy and like headaches surrounding that game already before it's even out. I don't, by association with like the annoying fandom, I don't want to touch it, you know. And also, like, for me personally, I've already planned out my schedule to have a minimum of 1,500 hours into Three Houses. So I have a long way to go.
1,500?
Yeah.
Why that arbitrary number?
Oh my god, I'm gonna out myself. Okay.
Oh god. Here we go.
Because god, this gonna sound so stupid. Basically, as I mentioned, there's like, not only are there the 24 students, there's like what's it, eight or so like other additional characters. They all can be romanced by the main character, essentially.
Okay.
But in order to do that, I have to play through the entire game, because you can only romance them at the very, very end of the game, you know.
And you have to pick one.
Yeah, pretty much. So then I have to beat the game that many times, like every time I want to like unlock that new support conversation. So again, I did the math, and it's like, yeah, minimum 1,500 hours necessary for that. I'm sure it'll go faster, because I'm going to do it like, because right now I'm playing the game on hard difficulty, which is very time consuming, of like, oh, I have to make sure all my units are staying alive. But later on, I'll playing on like normal casual mode, where it's like, hey, like I can just kind of not think about it as hard, you know. So, but still, it's a lot of time.
What would you ever consider just watching the YouTube videos of those endings, or is that
No, because it doesn't feel earned, Jason.
Okay, that's fair. This is why I asked, because I don't know. Yeah, no judgment on that. No, that's a mighty feat, and I wish you best of luck on that.
Thank you, sir.
One of John says, "Yeah, the Pokemon community has really turned me off the franchise. What's happening with the Pokemon community? Have they turned that toxic?"
I mean, if you define toxic by sending the developers death threats, then yes, that's quite toxic.
But is there any community where that doesn't happen?
True. I mean, what I like to say is I think all fandoms follow the 1% rule of like, no matter what you do, 1% of that fandom is always going to be bad and toxic. So if your fandom has 100 people, that's like one person. You can ignore that dude. It's like whatever. He's loud, he's annoying, but whatever. But if your fandom is as big as the Pokemon fandom, then it's like that 1% applies to like, let's say 1 billion people. And I don't want to do the math, but you get like just of like it's a lot of people screaming at the same time.
Right.
So if you're not familiar to like the reason why I think in the chat like someone is like, oh, I'm turned off by the fandom is because like people are making such a hullabaloo about like everything from like the graphics of Sword and Shield to the controversy that is the lack of a national dex, which means that like previous Pokemon are not going most of the previous Pokemon are not going to be in the new game.
Right.
And at first people were like, oh, that sucks, but of course there's like 1,000 Pokemon. Of course you can't do that. But then like even like I think the developer or director or whatever, Juichi Masuda, I think his name is, from Game Freak, he is quoted during E3 to say, oh, we can't do that because it's too much work. You know, there's too many models, there's too much animation.
Plus the balancing that.
Right. Well, I mean, Pokemon's never been one for balancing, but
True.
still. But the issue that people took with that statement is the fact that Game Freak a couple years ago themselves were like, hey, we already did high rendered models of all of the Pokemon to future-proof them, you know? So we can put them in the new game. And now all of a sudden, a couple years later, they're saying we can't do that when I don't know. It's like there's a lot of information just being like flown in the air. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all. But basically, long story short, people are upset at Pokemon. That's it.
Wow. Such is the way of any long-term game or long-term franchise. But yes, it is the lightning round. So let's get your topics, questions, anything we didn't cover, anything, especially since we have Kim with us tonight. Any questions you might have for him? And while you guys are getting your questions and topics ready, just want to bring attention to Kim. Where is the best place to follow you to get your comics?
Mostly, primarily Twitter, honestly. So you can follow me on Twitter at why did I forget my own ads? That's so embarrassing.
Because you don't add yourself.
Okay.
I got you. Twitter, I got you. Links dropping in the chat right now.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's the Kimerson show, but it's just like I forget whether it's capitalized or not. Not that it matters, but I'm kind of like fussy over details like that. But yeah, primarily on Twitter, just because it's like the easiest platform for me to talk to like the people who like my stuff, share comments, like retweet my stuff, and it's where I met most of like the Fire Emblem community, because before it's like I used to be active on Tumblr, way back when, and I would like post myself there and like, but then ever since like they did policy changes, like they kind of purged, shall we say, that site of like all their not safe for work content. Everyone migrated to Twitter, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm joining the crowd, and then thankfully Twitter has been a good place to just like be like, hey, you like Fire Emblem, I like Fire Emblem. I mean, that's a good starting point for any conversation, you know?
Yeah, I've noticed your maybe it's from the Tumblr days, just your work. I see it like popping up in a lot of places, so you have a lot of fans.
So I personally find it annoying when people tell me like, oh, I've seen your work. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, you follow me on Twitter? It's like, oh no, I see it on like Facebook. I don't post on Facebook though.
Right. I actually found you. I forget why. I was looking you up last week, but I found there was a YouTube channel that takes your comics and like voices over them.
Yeah, so people like to dub over my comics, which bless them, honestly, they're so cool. And thankfully they actually like approached me first saying, hey, do I have permission to do so?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I actually know a couple of the voice actors who done my stuff. It was really weird though, because I did a comic the other day, and my friend contacted me and he was like, yeah man, I'm going to dub over the comic. I'm gonna dub you in the comic, which is weird because like it's me.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I be the one to voice myself?
Right.
So I'm very interested to see like he'll upload the dub and he'll like give me a very nasally nerdy voice. I'm like, excuse me.
Wait a minute, that is offensive.
But no, I love the community in that sense. Yeah, just honestly like truth be told, if it weren't for the creative individuals within the Fire Emblem community, I probably would have like jumped like bailed ship a long time ago. You know, because again, oftentimes it feels like they get like into heated debates over nothing,
Right.
and that kind of like tires you out if you like kind of dive into like the spiral into like madness, as it were.
Mhm.
So between like the content creators who like honestly, Fire Emblem is probably one of the most active in terms of fan artists. You know, like it feels like every day I see new art pieces being like showing up all the time. So between that and like also there's a good amount of positivity that gets thrown around as well. Like people like going out of their way to say I love your stuff. It really brightens my day. That's what really like primarily drives me to like stay active. You know.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm glad I could end this conversation on like a positive note.
Yes, no, way to turn that around.
Because like usually it's like the fandom sucks, but there's like good people in it too, you know. So as is most things in life.
Yes. So our first question from Tony. Question: who's your favorite male and female character in Fire Emblem Three Houses? The only two female favorites I love are Edelgard and Petra.
Well, I mean, he stole my answer right there because those are two of my favorites too. But between the two, I guess I'll have to go with Edelgard more because again, I love how she's such a complicated character where you can't just say she's a good person, she's a bad person. She's like a character with complex motivations that can be viewed as evil from like one perspective or good from the other, you know. In terms of male characters, I want to say my favorite is probably there's a character who's in Black Eagles named Caspar. He has like spiky like aqua hair. He's an idiot because he just wants to punch stuff, and I respect it so damn much.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Next question from RPG. Kim, is there any other SRPG series you've played, video or board game?
Not board game because I don't have friends in real life, so I can't really.
We can relate.
But no, SRPGs. I've honestly one of my favorite other strategy RPGs specifically is Final Fantasy Tactics. It's honestly like my favorite Final Fantasy game because of it reminds me of Fire Emblem.
That's a really good game.
Yeah.
You ever play that, Sean? Final Fantasy Tactics.
Which game?
Tactics.
Yeah, a while. It's been a long time.
They are old games.
Yeah. They never made a sequel to that, did they?
No, they killed that like spin-off like series after like the DS game, which is a shame. I thought they would have done something for 3DS, but say lovey, I guess.
Did they make like another tactics game or something to replace? Not even.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Is it that Disgaea franchise?
This guy is like a fighting game, I think.
No, this guy.
Sorry,
nothing
no,
to do with Final Fantasy.
I was thinking of Dissidia. That's it.
No, but isn't it a tactics game though?
This guy is a tactics game. I don't like that series as much because I'll be honest, it's very weird.
Yeah.
You know, just like in both character story and like its gameplay mechanics, like. There's one gameplay element of this guy where it's like stack units on top of each other to form a pillar of destruction. I'm like, that's too no, I don't like this.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. Yeah, so I was saying Square Enix probably decided to just focus one franchise on tactics. Shit, lost my track. Can you all say Astral Chain with a heavy metal voice? Sean, do you have a heavy metal voice?
Astral Chain.
I mean, I can't top that.
Yeah, no, I'm going to concede as well. That's just top tier, Sean. Well done.
Anything in comparison? If you want a boy band Astral Chain, I could probably do a boy band Astral Chain.
Can you?
No. It would just be a very monotone Astral Chain. There you go.
There you go.
Do you think Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was a successful game from Nintendo?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think it was. It was supposedly selling pretty well.
Yeah,
it's a good game, so that's all that matters.
RGT85, would you see any reason with a more efficient processor and a better battery not to get a new Switch? Wouldn't it just run better and remove some lag in certain games?
It would. So that's kind of why I want it.
The new Switch?
It's better.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I already ordered the stupid Switch Lite.
Oh, you did, eh?
Yeah. I got the turquoise one.
The best color, honestly.
You guys don't like
But yeah,
yellow?
I mean, I'm checking tomorrow to see if my GameStop got any in. Supposedly, they'll be in this week sometime.
Really?
Yeah, they're already out in Texas.
Huh.
The Switch lights?
No, the revamped Switch that he's
Oh,
talking about.
Oh.
The red
that
box one.
Okay.
Kat says, what games are you looking forward to this month?
I mean, Astral Chain, right? That's the
Yeah,
big.
That's the one game. That's the one game this month.
DC Universe Online.
That's the one game this month is Astral Chain. You are not playing an MMO. I don't see you playing an MMO.
I'm gonna try it out. I played it on the PS4 or PS3 back in the day.
No. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. In fact, let me check. August 2019.
Is it really that much of a drought?
Well, I mean, it doesn't feel like a drought because I got like so many games, and if you dip into the indie scene, there's always so many games, and there's so many like free games to try. Oh, there's Friday the 13th, meh, which is kind of a big deal, I guess. Madden, get Madden NFL 20 came out 2 days.
It's already out.
Yeah. Control, Astral Chain. Yeah,
Oh, the Metal Wolf Chaos XD comes in like what's it? 3 days from now? Wait, no,
August
2
6th.
days.
2 days.
All right, that's a hype game for me at least.
Pillars of Eternity on Switch on August 8th. I've heard that name thrown around. Life is Strange 2 Episode 4.
Yay!
Wow.
Yeah, it's not too strong. Oh, World of Warcraft Classic for the PC MMO fan.
What is this World of Warcraft you speak of? I've never heard of it.
Don't go down that rabbit hole. And then there's Blair Witch coming out at the end of the month for anyone who cares about that, and Pokemon Masters for iOS and Android.
Yay!
I love that. Is the perfect amount of enthusiasm.
I mean, to be fair, my friends are excited for it because it is like I get to see my favorite Pokemon characters again, which is fine for that if you're interested. But for me, it's just like, I mean, I'd rather have like a good Pokemon game. But okay.
This is to tide you over. We got a super chat from Cam. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. My brother is making a game for Switch. Any recommendations? Ooh. What genre he should target? Dude, really talented. Love your content, guys. Well, thank you so much, Cam.
Whatever he's comfortable making.
There's your RGT advice.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I was gonna say like visual novel, but that's my joke answer. But it's just like it's just honestly like whatever genre you have the most passion in, just go for it.
That's actually a good answer because I was gonna give a genre, and I probably still will in a moment. Personally, I love Metroidvanias, but they're also one of the hardest ones to design for. But someone once said, do whatever it is you love, and you will find other people. And this goes true to any content, any piece of artwork you do. And someone told me this as a content creator, as someone who makes videos. I was always thinking, what should I make that people will watch? And someone said, stop thinking about that because you're always going to be chasing. Make something you believe in, make something that you love and that you are passionate in and that you can keep putting energy into. And if you like it, odds are someone else likes it too. And that it's finding those people. So it might not be a surefire plan to success, but it's probably the most rewarding, and at least you can be proud of whatever you end up with.
Actually, I relate to that advice really well because, as I mentioned, I used to be really active on Tumblr before the policy change. But when I was on Tumblr, if you recall, a couple years ago, Pokemon Go first came out. So I think like 2016 is when that game came out, or I think I'm remembering the facts wrong. Yeah. So the summer of 2016, I remember I made comics of specifically like the Pokemon Go team leaders, you know, because they were like the hot new like characters. So when I did those, like I think it got to my head of like, oh, the comic I made of these characters, like I saw it like, well, it was reposted on Imgur of all things, but I saw that the numbers were like, it got like 1 million views, you know? So it's like, that got to my head of like, oh, I should keep making Pokemon Go like content to like appease like, follow the success. But over time, after a couple of months of doing that, I really like got burnt out, you know? Cause it's just like, so then when I got to that point, it's just like, okay, time to go back to Fire Emblem, the only thing I have a passion for apparently. And so I've been happier ever since, you know? So it's really important not to let like numbers and strategies kind of get into your head too much when making content online. Just So cheap. Follow your dreams. Is my advice.
Well, I think Sean, you can speak to that too, because you've always stayed pretty true to making content that you cared about and stuff that you would only watch. Like you never really chased views. You've always stuck to kind of your guns of like, I want to make this kind of content.
Yeah, I mean, it works. So I mean, you just got to stick with it.
Yeah. And when you started, nobody was watching your stuff either. Like, you know, it wasn't an overnight success.
You're not wrong.
So hopefully that's some good advice for you, Cam. Thanks again for watching. Where were we in our questions? I know, guys, we are about 7 minutes over, but Sean, you came in late, so I'm taking a few more minutes.
That's fine.
Crimson asks, what retro games are you looking to pick up and play? Castlevania games. That's all I play that's retro right now.
I mean, I'm kind of at the point where I don't really look for retro stuff. It just kind of has to catch my attention. Something that, you know, sparks an interest in my head. If that makes sense.
Kim, do you play retro?
Give me a second.
Okay. Next question. Why get the light? Trans asks, why get the light if you're getting the upgraded regular model?
Gotta review
I mean, I'm playing this right now. Genealogy of the Holy War for the SNES. Got this baby for like $36 at a convention. So that's my retro gaming experience. More Fire Emblem. What a surprise.
Going back to the roots, though.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Santiago, in August, there's also Oninaki, but I'm not too sure what that is.
It's an RPG. It's an action RPG from whatchamacallit, Square, the people that did I Am Setsuna.
Oh, okay. Tony asks, final question. How do you feel about the 3 voices from Sony's Spider-Man, Yuri, Naji, and William, in reprising their voices in Nintendo's Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3? How do you feel about the 3 voices?
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
I don't have a strong opinion on it.
I don't know what kind of like grand finale answer they were expecting from that.
I think maybe we could have shed more, I don't know, insight into it. I actually didn't know that was a thing, first of all. So thanks for bringing it to my attention.
I mean, they're getting work, so that's good for them.
Yeah. Is Jason planning on getting Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga for the Switch? I think so, because, you know, picking up this Marvel trilogy of Lego games is kind of giving me, like, the Lego games are good, and you have to space them out, because you can easily burn yourself out on Lego games. But I think between a trilogy of Marvel games and a whatever 9 in a row is of Star Wars Lego games, I think that's a good enough to hold me over for another 5 years before I need to scratch that Lego itch again. You guys picking it up? I know, Sean, you were interested.
Yeah, I might. It just depends, but it looks pretty decent.
Yeah. Cat Control comes out this month. Apparently, that's what this website says. Indie games are crazy selling right now. It's getting saturated. The ones that are at the top are selling, and the ones that are at the bottom are not doing so well. But Cam, keep us updated on your brother's progress. I mean, I'm sure I definitely love to see updates on his work and what he's working on. Any last question? Last question. He said the visuals are the hardest to make, Kim.
What?
For the visual novels. Back to Cam's question on that. All right, let's get any last questions here that I miss. Sorry, I was going through the comments kind of quick. Are you guys picking up Ghostbusters? Yes, that's a good one, Alex. I do want to pick up the new Ghostbusters, yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so that's a hard pass on me.
Have you seen the Ghostbusters movie, Kim?
Mate, no.
Okay, I'll watch Harry Potter. You go watch Ghostbusters.
Is that a deal?
Yeah, if you agree to it, it's a deal.
I don't see how you watching Harry Potter is a reward for me, so I think I'll pass on that.
Damn it! You need to educate yourself on some good '80s movies.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen Indiana Jones?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other '80s class. Back to the Future.
Well, I watched the first one, not the sequel, second or third one.
Okay,
no.
well, you saw the best one.
Mm-hmm.
What's another '80s highlight, Sean? What are your '80s favorites?
Terminator.
Hell yeah.
You know, I haven't actually seen Terminator.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. This is an '80s, but I know Jurassic Park is a big one for Sean as well.
Yeah, it was 93.
90s, yeah.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Like it's Santiago. Kick him off the podcast. No, we're not gonna do that. He's our welcome guest. All right, we are going to be wrapping it up there. So let's get some links and stuff out. Kim, for anyone who joined us afterwards, where would you like people to find you if they want to talk more Fire Emblem with you or just follow your comics?
Well, definitely the best place for that is my Twitter. I'm sure you already have the @ in the links, or yeah, just @ the Kimerson Show. If you're interested, or if anyone's interested, they can also find me on YouTube if they type in the Kimerson Show on the search bar as well. Since I and again, fair warning, because I do mostly like animated stuff, that means like that stuff takes like a lot of time. So it's like one upload every 3 months probably. But hey, it's there. Also, my followers keep telling me that like, hey, we want to see you stream Three Houses, particularly doing like challenge runs of like all of your students can only use the punching weapon primarily. So like make it like a punching emblem team, which is which basically means no healing for me, which means a lot of dead characters. So we'll see how that goes. But you know, I could convert my YouTube channel from like an animated thing to like a gameplay. We'll see what the future holds for that. But for now, it's kind of just there. If you want to follow it, go ahead. There's no I don't know. There's do what your heart tells you to do is my advice.
And hey, if you're going to be putting 1,500 hours in, you might as well invite some people to watch along on your ride of craziness.
That's a good point.
Sean, anything that you'd like to bring people's attention to? Maybe videos that you've released in the last week that are particular highlights?
No, just the usual stuff. Watch everything. Thank you in advance.
Okay. Now, what are you? Anything exciting in your life this week?
No. Not that I have planned yet. Like Friday the 13th embargo lifts on the 6th, but they gave like 4.5 review copies, so there's nobody playing it online, and it's an online primarily game, so it's hard.
Can you talk about the menu? How's the starting menu though?
Oh,
It's a nice. I mean, there's single player stuff in it.
Oh, okay,
But it's not. It's like 15% of the game.
right.
The game is an online game.
Is that the only game you're working on right now?
Primarily, yes.
And how long is your mullet gonna go?
Yeah, until I get tired of it.
The true questions being asked tonight.
Yeah. If it's anything like his fro, it's probably gonna go down to his butt.
Okay,
If it can even do that. Over here, expect I'm gonna be trying to clear my video idea backlog because I want to stop starting things and not finishing them. So there's going to be a lot of Castlevania Diaries stuff coming out. There's going to be some new Heiji Eats stuff coming out. So I know that the last few videos I've put out on Heiji Eats have been about eating Japanese snacks, but I've got some drink videos planned. One is I'm going to be drinking a bunch of different flavor of fruity, non-alcoholic beers or something.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And then I'm going to do a Pepsi episode. So Pepsi has released a bunch of flavors for the summer, including vanilla, lime, mango, and raspberry, I think, or cherry Pepsi. So I'm going to be trying those out and mixing them and having fun with that. So that's going to be coming out soon. And all week I'm on vacation, so I'm going to be working on the book, Sean's book, as well as pumping out some N64 top 64 videos as well.
Nice.
As the Indie Corner and Indie Corner stream. So a lot of content coming. I am probably going to burn myself out, but such is life. All right, we'll see you. I'll see you guys around sometime this week. Until then, keep it classy, or as Sean would say.
Keep it classy.
Or as Kim would say.
Play Fire Emblem.
Wow.
I don't have a gimmick. I'm sorry. That's my only stick, okay?
I'm going to get you a shirt that just says Play Fire Emblem. Or do you have one already?
Not actually, surprisingly not yet. So you'll be doing me a great favor, Jason.
Okay. Watch Ghostbusters and you'll get that shirt.
Damn. All right. It's a deal in that case.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.